name's Tom DiNardo. I'm the Wine Zealot. We're here in Malibu, California, investigating some of the Woolsey fire claims that caused devastating damage to not only people's homes, but also to their prized wine collections. Okay, so today we're down here in Southern California in Malibu, and I'm here on behalf of some insureds regarding the Woolsey fire, which took place between November, well, the damage at least occurred to a majority of the homes in Malibu between November 8th and November 9th of 2018. So we're here in this particular wine cellar in Malibu, California, and I'm inspecting the wine collection for alleged damage either due to ash, smoke, fire, etc. So, so far we've counted 307 bottles in this particular wine collection with a very impressive collection of champagnes, and right now I'm going through the steps of actually beginning the formal inspection. So we're going to start here to the left. And I'm going to start, I've already done the bottle counts, again 307 bottles, but we're starting with some Camus vineyards. This isn't the special selection, this is 2016 Camus vineyards, and let's take a look here. These all appear to be 2016, and so far what we're looking at here on these particular bottles is we're looking for evidence of smoke damage, fire, ash, soot. At the same time, since this is also an alleged fire damage claim, I'm also looking for evidence of heat damage. So far what I'm seeing in all of the labels is that all of the labels look absolutely fine and immaculate. Also, there is no evidence of any bulging cork. There is no evidence of any seepage coming out of the particular foil, and or evidence of any streaks running down the bottle, which seems to pretty much indicate that the temperatures were at a safe level throughout the entire process. We already have verified on this particular claim through the insured that when they came here over a week later, they had taken a temperature reading of the wine cellar 9 days after the power was out, and the temperature which they shot with an infrared thermometer showed that the various sampled bottles were at 77 degrees. And while that's not the most ideal temperature for wines, that's certainly not something that in the near term or short term is going to be deleterious to the wines either. So far, everything, at least from the beginning part of the inspection, is looking good. And these particular wines are undamaged. So sometimes what happens when I'm performing wine appraisals is some owners are very fastidious and very detail-oriented, separating their wines out, literally red from whites, French from Italian, etc., and keeping their wines together in groups. Sometimes owners are not. So this is an example where I'd already come across a certain number of bottles of the 2015 Duckhorn Sauvignon Blanc, and so what happens is as I find the similar bottles, I try to group them together, and then I have to go back and sometimes readjust my count. So with this particular wine, I've had to readjust the count about 3 times already since I keep finding more of it. So one of the other potential issues, or sometimes it's an issue, sometimes it isn't, as a wine appraiser, is like in this particular case with the Woolsey fire claims, many of the owners obviously are incredibly knowledgeable about their wine collections, and they trust the advice obviously of the winemakers that they purchase from directly, and also the retailers that they purchase from directly. Sometimes though this can also be problematic. The reason being for that is that when the retailers who are obviously aware of the Woolsey fire are unaware of the facts or the background behind the fire, or they haven't been out to the person's home, and then they just basically offer blanket statements like a wine collection is destroyed, that can be problematic because the claimants are already in a very heightened emotional state, which is understandable given the duress and everything that they've gone through from the fire. But, you know, for example, like in this particular wine collection here, the owner had stated that the retailer told them that all their wine was bad, but the retailer had obviously never bothered to make a trip out here. So as you can see, when we take a look at this particular wine collection, so far I'm about a quarter of the way through it, and virtually, well, actually all of the wines that I've looked at are in excellent condition and completely undamaged. Because the fire occurred outside the house, and the surrounding premises, at least around the house, were not as directly impacted by the fire as other areas. So you already have an insulated environment, the house. Then you have a further insulated environment, which is the wine cellar, which is on a lower floor of this particular house. So these wines, in fact, were spared the damage. And so far, again, I'm not finding any evidence of heat damage, smoke damage, ash, soot, any of that. Okay, so so far I'm about 2/3 of the way through this particular wine appraisal, again for the Woolsey fire down in Malibu, California. And as I've mentioned so far, the good news is in this particular wine collection, literally every single wine I've looked at has been in excellent condition. There's only one bottle so far that I've found, which is a French wine, Famille Perrine, Les Conruds from Vinsobres. And in this particular bottle, you can see that the cork is clearly bulging up a little bit. And we also have some clear evidence here of some wine seepage here on the capsule. But yet when I look at the color and so forth, this particular color looks good. It doesn't look degraded, but clearly there's been some evidence of wine seepage. So we're just concluding our wine appraisal inspection today here in Malibu, California as part of the Woolsey fire. And as you can see, there's still a strong police presence behind us because while the fire danger is over, the floods and safety issues are still an ongoing concern, as well as possible looting. Actually, Lady Gaga's house and Robert Downey Jr.'s house is just up the road behind us, and we actually had to leave a little bit early today because, as you can see, it's raining and there is an ongoing concern for flood damage. So they came around and asked non-essential personnel to leave, but thankfully we were able to conclude the wine appraisal. So we're concluding our assignments here on the Woolsey fire in Malibu, California, and as a footnote, I just wanted to point out some of the stark contrast and the fact that the damage post-fire still hasn't resolved. To my left, you can see where the fire ripped up the hillside along the Pacific Coast Highway, literally destroying the indigenous plants. What that's created is a massive flood problem, creating mudslides. You can see to my right, that's where the county and the state have gone in with netting and hydro seeding to recreate or restore the plant life to prevent further mudslides and erosion. Despite the loss of life and the tremendous damage created by the Woolsey fire, The reason why people choose to live here in Malibu, California is pretty self-evident behind me. The fact of the matter is that currently people's houses are being repaired, their wine collections being replenished, and these ardent, brave people continue to persevere and press on.